Good morning and welcome to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara. As we begin this new episode, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today. We have an exciting lineup of stories to share with you, and we're starting off with a fascinating look at the foundation of our country, the United States Constitution. In recent years, there's been a growing conversation about the role of the Constitution in modern American life. Some argue that it's a timeless document that continues to guide us towards a more perfect union, while others see it as a relic of the past that no longer applies to our complex and ever-changing world. To delve deeper into this topic, I'd like to share with you a story from CBS Sunday Morning titled, "These United States, A History of the Constitution." The piece features interviews with Jill Lepore, author of We the People, A History of the U.S. Constitution, and Jeffrey Rosen, President and CEO of the National Constitution Center. According to Lepore and Rosen, the Constitution is not just a historical document, but a living, breathing framework that continues to shape our nation's laws and institutions. They argue that the principles enshrined in the Constitution, such as checks and balances, the separation of powers, and the protection of individual rights, are just as relevant today as they were when the document was first written. Rosen notes that while the language of the Constitution hasn't changed in recent years, its interpretations have continued to evolve through Supreme Court decisions. However, he also expresses concern that the current state of our government, with its increasingly polarized politics and erosion of checks and balances, is not what the founders intended. Lepore, on the other hand, highlights the importance of understanding the historical context in which the Constitution was written. She reminds us that the document was a product of its time, shaped by the experiences and perspectives of the people who wrote it. And yet, despite its limitations and flaws, the Constitution has proven to be a remarkably resilient and adaptable framework for governance. As we consider the role of the Constitution in modern American life, it's essential to approach this topic with nuance and balance. We must acknowledge both the document's enduring strengths and its limitations, as well as the ongoing debates and challenges that shape our understanding of its meaning and relevance. That's all for now on this important story. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're halfway through our program today, and we're diving into a complex and developing story that has significant implications for global politics and economies. I'm sure many of you have been following the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, and today we're going to explore some new developments that are worth discussing. As you may know, the war between Russia and Ukraine has been raging on for over 3 years now, with both sides suffering heavy losses. Recently, Ukrainian drones targeted one of Russia's top oil refineries, sparking a fire and highlighting the ongoing attacks on Russian oil infrastructure. This move by Ukraine is seen as an attempt to disrupt Russia's ability to fuel its war effort. Now, in response to these developments, President Trump has called on NATO countries to stop buying Russian oil, suggesting that this could be a key step towards ending the conflict in Ukraine. He argues that as long as NATO members continue to purchase Russian oil, it undermines their negotiating position and bargaining power with Russia. It's worth noting that some NATO member countries, such as Turkey, Hungary, and Slovakia, have been buying significant amounts of Russian oil. The European Union, on the other hand, has set a deadline to phase out Russian oil and gas imports by 2028. The situation is further complicated by recent incidents of Russian drones crossing into Polish airspace, prompting NATO to respond with fighter jets. This has raised concerns that the conflict could spill over beyond Ukraine's borders. As we consider these developments, it's essential to approach the topic with nuance and balance. We must recognize the complexities of international diplomacy and the various interests at play. While some may argue that stopping Russian oil imports is a necessary step towards ending the war, others may point out the potential economic consequences and the need for a more multifaceted approach. As we continue to monitor this situation, it's clear that the conflict in Ukraine remains a critical issue with far-reaching implications. We'll be keeping a close eye on developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara. As we wrap up today's show, we're shifting our focus to the world of sports, specifically to the Scottish Premiership, where several intriguing stories have unfolded. Our goal is to provide a balanced and fair overview of these developments. Firstly, let's delve into the situation at Rangers, where head coach Russell Martin retains the support of the board despite the team's challenging start to the season. With no wins in their first 5 league games, placing them 10th in the table, the pressure is undoubtedly mounting. However, it's crucial to note that managerial changes can have profound effects on team morale and performance, and sometimes stability and patience are key. In a related context, there's been speculation about the future of Hamza Igamane, who left Rangers for Lille over the summer. Reports suggest that his decision was influenced by a lack of confidence from the staff at Ibrox, rather than any personal desire to leave Glasgow or disagreements over playing time. This narrative highlights the complex dynamics within football clubs and the importance of player-coach relationships. Meanwhile, at Celtic, manager Brendan Rodgers has expressed his willingness to extend his contract under certain conditions. He seems to be calling for changes behind the scenes, which could indicate a level of dissatisfaction with current operational structures or strategies. Rodgers' ability to communicate effectively and navigate these situations is a testament to his experience and leadership skills. It's also worth mentioning that former Celtic centre-half Gustav Lagerbielke has found himself at the centre of an unusual incident, being declared a missing person by a Dutch council despite having completed a transfer to Braga in Portugal. This bizarre episode serves as a reminder of the unexpected challenges that can arise in the lives of professional athletes. As we conclude today's segment on Scottish football, it's clear that both on and off the pitch there are significant stories unfolding. The futures of key figures like Rodgers and Martin will undoubtedly be subjects of continued speculation and interest. For fans, these narratives add depth to the sport, beyond the matches themselves, illustrating the complexities and human elements that make football so captivating. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.